Go to the ocean, near the shore, in tidal pools, or other shallow waters, and you just might see one of God's most beautiful creatures in the sea. Most are about 1 to 2 inches long, but some can get up to 1.5 feet in length. These creatures begin their lives with a protective shell, but before adulthood, they get rid of that shell. That's why they're called Nudibrachs, or naked sea snails. Beyond their beauty, Nudibrachs were created with an incredible defense system that can't be explained by evolution. Let's find out more in our next segment, Nudibrach, God's Rainbow of the Sea.
A nudibranch is it's like a type of snail. It's a slug. They call it a sea slug. They're beautiful. They're just beautiful little creatures. And they pick up a lot of their color from what they eat, but yet some of them, they're polka dots, they're stripes, they have circular things on them. They come with every kind of an appendage with frilly things and stumpy looking things. They are just beautiful. They have two that look like antennae. They're called rhinopores, which that's how they smell and how they taste and how they find their way around, their sight basically. They're not really eyes, but they sense their way around, and they're an amazing creature. Nudibrachs live in all the oceans. They live in the Antarctica, they live in the Caribbean, they live in the Atlantic, Pacific. They can live in any type of water, ocean water. So their range would be all over the earth. There are some of the Nudibrachs that will eat anemones, another creature that's down there on the ocean floor. And these anemones have like tentacles. And on the ends of the tentacles, there are little stinging cells. They're actually like little darts that they will shoot their prey when it comes in, and they're poisonous. And the nudibranch can actually crawl on one of these things, surround it, and then swallow it. It just kind of surrounds it and then eats it. They digest the whole anemone, but they don't digest the stinging cells. And it will take the stinging cells and separate them out and put them in some tubes in its body that carry it out into its skin and into there's like these fringy things that are really the gills, but they will put these things all the way out on the ends of all these frilly gills, and it becomes their defense mechanism. So they steal the defense mechanism from their prey, and they use that defense mechanism as their own mechanism of defense, and they even potentiate, they make stronger the stinging ability of the cell while they're digesting it without setting it off. Total miracle. How could that be? How could that evolve? I have no idea how that could evolve, and I've never heard an evolutionist say how that could evolve. When it's an embryo, a young little one, it has a shell. So it's like a snail with a shell. And then it gets rid of its shell as it begins to grow, and they're not big, a few inches long. If you read what the evolutionists say about the nudibranch, they will say, well, it had that shell when it was in its larval stage, like a snail shell, and it took a big evolutionary gamble by getting rid of that shell. In other words, it would have become very vulnerable to other creatures to eat it, and it would go extinct. But we still have lots of them. Why? Looking at it from a creationist perspective, there's no gamble there. That God made it to have the shell to protect it when it was most vulnerable, when it was just a little blob, before it had its distinguishing features. So it was protected with its little shell. Now it comes out of the shell. It has these other mechanisms to protect it. So no, it's not a gamble. It was made to do it that way. That's the way God made it.
The Bible tells us over and over that creation is shouting from every point in the universe that God is the designer and creator of everything we see and don't see, including the wild animal kingdom, miraculous creations of God.